Alright, hi everyone, how are you? Hope you're having a weekend. And a really big warm welcome to Peter and Nicole for joining our group. I hope you get as much value as everyone else is in the group so far. And today I wanted to talk about investing in ourselves, and really, this is a really great group, if I may say so myself, to invest in yourself. There are many resources that will help you out. There's nutrition guides that I've been putting together, and there's also the list of 100, where you write out the list of 100 health, wealth, relationships, and the experiences that you'd like to have, where you can really start to get an idea as to where you are versus where you'd like to be, and actually start writing that map out and stuff. And those resources are in the group as well. So a big warm welcome to you, Peter and Nicole. Now, in investing in ourselves, there are so many different ways that we can invest in ourselves. But really, if you're being really honest with yourself, how many ways are you actually investing in yourself? For myself and Kelly, we invest in our health, we invest in our relationship, and we invest in our wealth, of course. But like how we do that? Well, with our health, we're investing in the idea of, well, all natural foods wherever we can get them, like the best quality organic foods that we can find for vegetables, meat, and fruit. And we do that in 90% veggies, 5% fruit, 5% meat. It seems to be a really good combination, and that's what the green zones around the world are having to make it so that they habitually live to 100, 110 years old, and they're still members of their society. There's no nursing homes in sight, and they live really, really like comfortable and socially wealthy, if not wealthy, lives, right? And they've managed to work it out so there's hardly any dramas in their family and social circles. So that's really good as well to see whenever we go into learning more about their society. Okay, and Kelly and I have adopted a lot of that so that we can regain our health, right? And that's just another way that we invest in our health, in time in learning about it, and then time in applying it, right? The hardest part about investing in our health has always been the idea of snacks, because technically as a species we don't really need them, but we've had them for so many decades and generations now that to find really healthy snacks is a really difficult, challenging thing to do. And a lot of the time you end up realizing you just have to have another drink of water to top yourself up rather than actually indulging in the snack. But it is one of those challenges that is worth it, right? We're like, both of us are 20, 30 kilos lighter than what we used to be. Our health has returned like in great vitality. Our sex life is amazing. And we have none of the old health problems. Our back is healed, like our backs have healed, our joints have healed, with the exception of me doing a bit too much lawn mowing yesterday. Everything's healed. When I got crushed between two cars about 10 years ago, the joints in my knees were never quite the same for many years, and now they are, right? And that's from the investments in our health, right? And also investments in our relationship, because I've chosen to share my life with Kelly, and Kelly has chosen to share her life with me, right? And we've re-chosen that several times when things were hard. Okay, so a year and a half ago when we put everything on the table, right, we were re-choosing each other. You don't need a ceremony for that every single time you do it. You can just do it, right? And the idea there is you put everything on the table, say, are we growing together or are we growing apart? And you go through it, and we did for about 3 days just to make sure, because we had discovered people-pleasing had snuck into our relationship at one point. So we had to throw everything on the table to work out, are we growing together or are we growing apart? So we invested time in making sure that everything else was aside, everything else was taken care of, right? And we invested like 3 days of sitting and talking to each other as to how we're growing together. If we're going to grow together forwards, what does that look like? Are any of our plans actually going to change? And we determined that our plans and the way we were growing together were sufficient enough to continue growing forward more. And then from that point of deciding that, we found more and more and more again. So it's just another way of investing in ourselves. because in this way, it's funny. One of the things that we researched a while back and stuff as to one of the determinants of longevity, and you might think it was our food health or the whether we smoked or not, or whether or not we did drugs or drinking or anything like that as to a predetermined indicator as to longevity, but it was actually our social connections and the way we sustain them the longest what was a very big predetermined not a predetermined thing, but it turned out to be a very high coincidence that with the people that live the longest, they have their really healthy relationships, not just with each other, like their partner themselves, etc., but relationships with people in general. Okay, they were able to be freely themselves and allow others to be freely themselves back. Right, something that's actually becoming rarer and rarer these days, which is why the coaching industry is exploding, because friends aren't any longer what they used to be. Right, there's a very big detriment in the idea of having decent friend circles these days because of what, well, mostly I'd say mainstream media dividing everyone up so they can control them a lot easier, but that's a story for another day. But it's one of those things where the more divided everyone becomes, the less social, because we are social creatures, we are pack animals, right? The most sensitive, the highest amount of interconnected touch receptors are on the back of the shoulders, right? That's where we had the highest density of clusters of touch receptors is on the back of the shoulders, because we're meant to have that tap on the back. We're meant to feel when someone gives us a hug properly. Right? And we're meant to feel when someone gives us a hug in a toxic way as well, when it's a very fake one. We're supposed to detect that, okay? Because the ones who are giving us the ones that give us those fake hugs and stuff are usually not very healthy for us. They're pretending to care, okay? So investing in our health and our relationship has revealed all these little nuances along the way. And then of course there's investing time into reading, learning more about love languages, and there's many more than just five. Five are just the five love languages everyone reads about and stuff is just the main ones, right? But learning how they fit and how to translate in your own love languages into other love languages is a very big important key in getting along with people and building your business network as well. And then you go into wealth. Alright, so if you're going to have great health and you're going to have great relationships, well, you might as well have great wealth. Because that way, you are more in control of your calendar, you're more in control of your time, and you're more in control of your resources. Whereas most people seem to be living week to week, and they are not very good at time management, and they're not very good at resources management. There are people out there that I know of that can afford, there are people out there that have almost nothing, right, that will put their last resources into coaching, and there are others that are making 200, 300 grand a year, and they hesitate because they're not sure how that fits with their future. And that's understandable if they've never been approached like that. But like, what I'm saying is it seems that the ones that have less are ready to invest better because they're kind of in that position of nothing to lose. And I've actually been in that position many times myself, where there's nothing to lose, I'm going to try doing this. I'm just going to be more careful that time, right? And I've been very fortunate to understand and learn the things I needed to learn so that I didn't get whopped with a $250 million bill 14 years ago, or a $50 million bill years ago, or even now we've worked out a way to get around a 160 grand bill that was given us, and we're going to turn that into 11 million back returned. Okay, but that only comes because all of our time, any time that's not dedicated to anything in particular, we've dedicated directly into learning and growing our skills, right? And learning and growing our resources, learning and growing our relationship, learning and growing our health. Okay, so there are many times where I've chosen particular job roles for a reason, not just to rebuild our position, but so that when I clocked off for the day, I don't have to think about work for the rest of the day. I could concentrate on learning these extra skills. And of course, because we got rid of the TV 12 years ago, there's no excessive media trying to tell me what to think, trying to tell me what to do, and trying to tell me what to settle for. Okay? This is why I said in one of my previous live vids that if you're looking at the TV and as far as buying one for like 2,000, 300,000, 5,000, whatever the price of your TV is, put another three zeros at the end of that price tag, right? Because that's what's really costing you in time not invested into building your wealth and building your resources. Okay? The amount of time you sit in front of the TV is a direct correlation towards what you will see in your bank account. Okay? So if you put 3 extra zeros at the end of a cost of a $5,000 TV, well, that's $5 million. And the way that works is if you're going to invest a certain amount of your time over years not investing and learning into your wealth, health, and relationships, then that's an opportunity right there that you've basically lost. You know? So, for example, you could have a side hustle that you develop in the time that you are doing that. Alright? There are people out there that are making a side hustle selling farts in a jar for $1,000 a month. I mean, seriously, it's not that hard to make extra money. Right? There's some ridiculous things out there. We now have tarot readers that are just doing a couple of hours of video recordings and stuff every week that are making $1 million a year. Okay? They don't have to go to the day job anymore. Then there are other ones and stuff that are like I don't really approve of, but they're there. The ones that are live streaming their gaming with a bit of their reactions and everything, and they're making $1 million a year because of the amount of attention that they seek on YouTube. Alright? So it doesn't actually take that much to make these extra side hustles work. If you're like, all you need to be doing is be into it. Right? But if you're putting that time into the TV, then you're losing time out of you could have a much healthier relationship. You can have much healthier social circles by investing that time as well, which is what me and Kelly do. You know? So that's why the lowest average in the bedroom is like, the lowest is 5 hours a week. Why? It's because we don't have TV. There's no extra, you know, it's lots more fun. It's much more fun doing that than watching TV. Anyway, that's another subject. My point is stuff. You get what you invest in, right? If you're complaining about particular things in your life, then understand that absolutely everything you have around you is a choice. You know, are you choosing to invest in it? Like I was saying Friday, right? Everything around you is a choice. We could just say, fuck it all and go live like a Kalahari Bushman. Right? But the fact you're here right now and you understand that that's an option means that every single thing around you now is a choice. So, if you're choosing to complain about your relationship not being strong enough, your health not being where it is, your wealth not being where it is, not enough zeros in the bank account, you know, then it's time to actually start investing those extra pieces of your life into learning what you need. Right? And I've said this before as well. The universe has a really funny sense of humor, right? Its sense of humor is when you go to put your jumper on the first thing in the morning or your t-shirt and you accidentally punch yourself in the nose when you're putting it on. That's the universe's sense of humor. And when you understand that, then you'll reach back and you'll look back at things that have led to those types of moments and you realize that the universe actually tapped you on the shoulder several times first to try and get your attention to learn a few different things. Right? And it wasn't until you ignored the first few taps on the shoulder that it's basically said, nah, you're getting the punch in the nose now, everything gets fallen apart. And it's the same with investing in yourself. Okay? You may get opportunities to invest in yourself in a really great way that will really fix a whole heap of things, right? And if you pass on that opportunity, then the universe will say, well, I gave you an opportunity to fix it all. So now you're going to have hard times ahead instead, or something like that, or it costs you 10 times as much, or something like that, you know. And there are heaps of coaches out there and stuff. That doesn't mean just me kind of thing, but like what I'm saying is like when you choose to invest in yourself, really choose to invest in yourself, right? Take inventory of where you are. Are you investing your time wisely? Are you investing your money wisely? Right? If your shopping cart looks like full of junk food, you're not investing in your health. Right? If your relationship has no sex life and you're always grumpy with each other, then you're not been investing in your relationship. Right? And if your wealth isn't where you want it, then you haven't been really investing in your wealth. Or you've been trying really hard and you've reached a particular peak and you've had to come down and realize a few things, which is what my journey's been. I've had my health and my health and my relationships going really well many times, and the wealth would go right up, and then something I needed to learn would bring me back down, and I need to learn it again. So this is all transitory, okay? Because time is, well, that's a different matter. It's all transitory. You know, the idea here is to build your health, wealth, and relationships together. From being in this group, you're building it together to try and reach the $3 million home, $10 million type liquid cash lifestyle kind of baseline, and the health and relationships to support that, so that you don't have people in your social circle sucking the life out of what you create. So yeah, so that is today's tirade on how to, like, on the different ways of investing in yourself, and I hope you've got some value out of this. Please do hashtag live. If you've been watching this live, Facebook is still playing up on me, so it doesn't tell me when there's someone watching some of the times. If you're watching the replay, please do hashtag replay, and if you get value out of this, please do hashtag value, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.